Sex is the life force energy that runs through us all. Can you use sexual energy for your spiritual evolution? Or perhaps for emotional healing? Is it even possible? Clinical sexologist Dr. Martha Tara Lee will explore all these and more on Eros Evolution on Om Times Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Eros Evolution. This is where sexuality and spirituality meets. And my name is Dr. Martha Tara Lee. I'm a clinical sexologist based in Singapore, and my company is called Eros Coaching. That's Eros coaching.com. And every week I talk to different people about the link between sex and spirit. And most of the time I interview sexologists. However, today I'm interviewing somebody very different in terms of profile, and the reason is because I was very drawn to her work, and I met her in KL when I was visiting, and so I am still trying to patch my guest in. So she is her name is Emma Jory. And she's a Pilates specialist with over 12 years of experience. And I was very impressed with her work because she has a very good e-program. So she's the founder of e-Pilates Online, the world's leading boutique online Pilates studio. And she's currently studying health coaching and yoga and knows the body so well that she can see your posture imbalances in just seconds of knowing you or looking at you. She believes everyone should have access to an education of their own body, and that awareness of one's own body or self is essential for growth as a human being. More about her: she specializes in female fitness, and pre- and postnatal rehabilitation and posture correction, and much more. She founded the boutique Pilates studios in Australia, where she sold it in 2014 to move to Malaysia with her husband. The studio was an international educational hub, regularly hosting Pilates teacher training courses. She also pioneered ballet bar to Australia, and later became a teacher trainer and traveled throughout Australasia training instructors. She has been featured in various magazines and is now a writer herself. She trained many celebrities, and her knowledge is sought after by many who have experienced the positive changes through her teaching. She is now happily helping more people experience the benefits of Pilates through her online studio, e-Pilates Online. And the website is e-Pilates. And she's also helping people with volunteer teaching in Malaysia and with refugees in KL. And I am Hi, I'm sorry I got cut off just now, and I've been trying to get my guest onto the show, so I've been cut off of my own show as well. So I'm going to try to patch her in one last time because this is really quite destructive. So today we're supposed to have Emma Jory, and she's an Pilates instructor, and today's show title is supposed to be how to flatten your lower tummy the right way. And I'm just having tremendous difficulties trying to patch her into the show, and for some reason it's just not working, and I don't really know what I can do about it. So it's just simply not working, and I've been calling her for the last 5 times. So this is the issue that happens with live shows, and maybe it's just one of those not meant to be with technologies. So maybe we need to change today's show title and direction. So let me just have a quick chat about what I've been doing the last few weeks. What has happened was I've been doing house sitting in Singapore and Malaysia over the last 2-3 years, and really doing it a lot more since the end of last year. And what happened was I do know that I get inspired by beautiful spaces, and I live with my parents right now, and in Singapore it's actually very common to live with your parents when you are single. The whole reason of it is because housing is really expensive, and that housing is really expensive, and it's I'm still trying to patch her in, and this is really causing me a lot of distraction, not to mention distress. For some reason she just can't find the add button. So anyway, I'm just trying to say that I've been so this so in one of the house sitting assignments that I had at around last year, hello Emma. Yeah. Sorry, listeners out there who are listening to this show. For the last 11 minutes, I've been struggling with this, patching her in. And okay, and so I went to Valencia, and it's this beautiful space. I felt so inspired, and then my whole body was vibrating through the time, and it's I just actually felt really turned on for at least the next 2 days when I was in that space. And so that house sitting assignment kind of ended, and I have this new assignment just a few weeks ago, and basically it involved me helping to take care of this house that is at Upper Serangoon in Singapore. And this house has a swimming pool, 7 bedrooms, and 5 bathrooms, and it's really beautiful, really inspiring. So right around the same time, I also received just like 2 days after, received a notice from my landlord of my office saying that he wanted me to vacate the place by the 1st of September. And so I just came upon the idea, since I'm moving into that house, and I have to move out of my office at some point, why don't I move out earlier than later? I asked for permission to move out of my office earlier, by the 30th of June, and I did all the moving early. And when this happened, I am now starting to operate from this beautiful house at Upper Serangoon, seeing clients and running workshops in the evening. And I guess I'm sharing this because this is just to show how I actually manifested this. I manifested this because I'm taking a training, and every time I went past this estate, I look at all these beautiful houses, and I'm thinking how nice it would be if I could, stay in one of these houses. And lo and behold, one of the houses probably hurt me. And what had happened was the owner actually contacted me. She found me online, and she actually emailed me through my work address saying, I need a house sitter during this period, and I like your profile online. It says that you're spiritual. Can you come in for an interview? And so that's essentially how I got this house sitting gig. And through synchronization, it actually worked. And so I really appreciate this opportunity, and I really think this is a miracle of sorts, and this really allowed me to manifest in a way that the synchronization, the intention, just created things to happen in motion. So I guess in sharing what's happening with me, that's the spirit. I guess we can talk a little bit more about this.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Hi, this is Julie Geigel.
And I'm Alicia Isaacs-Howes.
And I'm Catherine Glass.
And we're the Psychic Angel Channelers. You can find us every week here on Om Times Radio at Angel Talk Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at Om Times Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. Om Times Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back to the show. I've been trying to patch Emma into the show again during the break, and it's still not working. So for some reason, I really don't know why. The first time I was going to do the show with her, I actually overslept for the second time in a year and a half, and because the show is live, and so I missed my show. So I rescheduled her for today, and I've been trying to patch her in for the last 10 times, and it's still not working. So I'm giving up on this idea of having her on the show. I'm going to change the show description. And today, instead, I want to talk about synchronizations, I guess, and how you can manifest things into your life using sex magic. And I want to give you examples of how it's worked. And just before break, I was already beginning to share with you how I manifested this miracle of sorts in the sense that I'm really inspired by beautiful spaces. I wish I had more privacy away from my parents at times. We don't have a bad relationship. However, living in a HDB flat is really small and uninspiring, and the house is, to me, full of clutter. And so when I am drawn to house sitting for other people, this opportunity came where it's actually for a prolonged period of time. And I also at the same time had this notification from my landlord to move out. So if not for the being asked to move out of my Purvis Street office, I wouldn't have done so, because the rent was affordable, and it was at a very good location. I had a very cozy setup. People who came loved it. And so I wouldn't have moved out if I didn't want to. Yet at the same time, for many years in that office, I was very unhappy because the office was very small and uninspiring. I would have liked it to be a bigger space, but because of money constraints, I was really just doing the best I could with the constraints I had. So it was very challenging operating from that space, even though it was a great location. I had a nice landlord, the rent was affordable. I was able to still make enough money to survive, not enough money to save. And this really has been that for 7 years. So for the first 2 years, I was actually at a different location. And I'm sharing this because it took months. Okay, it didn't happen immediately, where I suddenly have everything all lined up. First the space, then the notification to leave, and then the moving out just happened within like literally like 1.5 weeks. So this is how I feel that I manifested it. Focusing on my desires. I knew I wasn't happy with the office, but I didn't know what I really wanted. I didn't dare to believe that I could have a bigger space, because to me, a bigger space equals must pay more money, and I didn't have more money. So I didn't dare to believe it. And it didn't put, I didn't put two and two together, that the place I live in could be also the place that I operate in, because for the longest time I've been told it's not safe to operate and live in the same premise, because of the work that I do. I'm a sexologist, I'm a woman. If I'm with my client in private, I may get attacked, and so I didn't even want to think about it. I did meet some pretty weird people as well through my work, which made me feel that I really didn't want to do that either. And when you have fear, it really creates scarcity, and it really creates fear in you. And over the years, I have become stronger with my boundaries. I have learned how to speak up and shut out people if I need to. So when people are provoking me quite a lot, I remove them from my mailing list. And if they continue to harass me, I might block them on different social media channels like Facebook, LinkedIn, and even Twitter. And this actually happened recently. This guy was emailing me his situation, and each time I would advise him that we should meet, because based on what he's saying, I really need a lot more details before I can even give him any advice. And he would persistently not arrange to meet. So he would continue emailing me for the next 3 times, and so I decided to remove him from my mailing list. And after that, he tried to add me to a Twitter group, and once again I blocked him because it's inappropriate. I don't engage with people in that way. We can chat. I can see if I help you, I'm useful to you. And once I've already said this, there's really no point in continuing to engage in social media, because that's not a place you can have a real conversation. This is not coaching. And we could have scheduled a Skype coaching session, but Twitter, email, to me, is not real coaching. We can't have a real conversation that way. I made it clear to him, and he was still forcefully trying to barge his way into my life through Twitter group now. And so again, I block him. And the third thing he tries to do now is to add me as a friend on Facebook, and again, I block him. So I'm just using this as an example to let you know that I can feel empowered enough to not engage further with someone who continues to provoke without feeling that it's taking away my power. I don't let this continue to affect me for the rest of the day. So the 2 and 2 became to come clearer, where the paradigm shift started to happen, where I feel stronger. And so the universe, I feel, manifested this opportunity where I realized that I could save some money instead of renting an office by operating from this residential space that I am using right now. So I like to move a little bit away from this and share with you how I also manifested some other things. So there was this guy that I was dating, and we kind of broke off contact. He said he wasn't, we are not right for each other, and so I still had a crush on him. I still wanted to reconnect with him, but my ego and pride told me that I really shouldn't connect with this guy. I just didn't want to face rejection, so I didn't want to connect with him. And it just happened that I had a date around his neighborhood, and I thought, oh, how awesome it would be if he would just call me and or text me and arrange to have lunch, a meet-up with me before my lunch date. So I had a lunch date, and I was going to be in his neighborhood, and I said how nice it would be if I could meet him before or after, ideally after. And so I set an intention. I didn't even like I'm going to set an intention. I just kind of pined about it. It was the longing, the desire that I had. How nice it would be if I just meet this guy after my date, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. We can just catch up. So I actually took a nap, and I was actually dreaming this in my nap. I was calling out to him in my nap. I was not doing this very consciously. I was totally unconscious, and in the nap I was just saying, oh yeah, please call me, or please message me. How nice it would be if we meet and we catch up, and we can catch up after my lunch date. So I wake up from this nap, which was an hour, and it wasn't really a good nap, because it was actually kind of like a fitful kind of sleep. I wake up from the nap, I check my phone, and he messages me. This guy messages me and say, hey, what are you doing today? And I say, oh, it's funny because I'm just going to be around your neighborhood at this time. I'm meeting someone for lunch, and we can meet after lunch. And he's like, perfect. So let's meet at this place at this time. And I basically manifested this. So when I think about how I manifested this, you know how sometimes when someone is thinking of you and you're thinking of the same person, one of you reach out to each other, and it so happens that you're both thinking of each other at the same time. So the desire is so strong that it actually connects both of you. And some of you will have known that experiments have shown that if you take two molecules that are from the same body and you put them at different places, both of them start vibrating, and so we have a connection, me and this guy, And when I set the intention of he hurt me somehow, and there was this connection that allowed him to also call me at the same time. And connections is something that happens when both of you actually have a attraction or desire for each other, and it has happened quite a number of times with a particular friend of mine. So it's not someone that I'm sexual with, it's someone I really care about. And each time she is in trouble, she's sick, she's hospitalized, I feel this sudden urging to call her or reach out to her, text her out of nowhere. And several times she would be in the hospital, and both of us are truly amazed that that I will reach out to her. So that is a connection that I had with this person. So if we can think of attraction in that way, of people that I've just explained, how about the manifesting of things into your life, where the vibration that you are calling out to that object is coming forth into your life. So as I just mentioned, it took me months before I manifested the move out of my office that I had this love-hate relationship with. And then it took weeks of passing by the same estate and wishing that I lived in that estate. This time now I'm staying in the estate, and it's within days of shifting into that space, I start manifesting the reality that maybe one day I will own one of these houses and actually live in that estate for good, instead of saying that I'm staying there for 3 months or 6 months. I actually want to live there. So I'm manifesting this. And so we'll talk more about this after the break, of how I'm actually starting to manifest something that hasn't happened yet, but I have full intention of doing so. So more after this break on manifesting.
Free your mind with Om Times Radio, IOM FM.
Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners and give a message from Spirit about the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, join Carrie each Monday at 3 p.m. on Vibe Nation
Radio. Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. Om Times Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Welcome back to Eros Evolution. This is where sex and spirit meets, and today is a very, very different show because I was supposed to have a guest come on, and it really didn't work. And in fact, she's still on the Skype messaging me, and it's just been so difficult. And it's probably one of those things that are not meant to be, which brings us to what I'm talking about today, which is synchronicity and with manifestation. And so far on today's show, I've already shared 3 things, 3 incidences, episodes in my life where I actually manifested something with my friend who's always sick. It's not per se manifesting, but it's more like a connection that we have that really allows me to reach out to her at the exact precise moment whenever she needed support. So I shared about the manifesting of moving out of my office, and then also moving into a big beautiful space. I talked about manifesting a text message, a meetup with a guy that I was interested in, and actually with the same guy, I actually was able to manifest this quite a number of times, where I would be thinking of him, and then he would message me. One of the times that I did so was actually when I was doing masturbation, and it is believed that our sexual energy is the biggest and most powerful energy that we have as human beings. It's something that's internal inside of us. So how I did this in particular with this guy in this story that I want to share with you is that I was masturbating, and I was really quite horny that day. So I masturbated 3 times, and by that I mean I masturbated to orgasm 3 times, maybe in the next in like the half hour that I masturbated. So I masturbated for 3 times, and each time I was thinking of this guy, and I was thinking of how nice it would be if he messaged me, and I had a longing for him, and so I sent a sexual energy to him, sending love and light to him through the masturbation. But I also said how nice it would be if he messaged me. And then as what happens sometimes, I would fall asleep after masturbate. So I would fall asleep, and the moment I woke up, he messaged me. So this is how you could actually do sex magic. You could incorporate sexual energy, for instance, rising your sexual energy through masturbation, through genital massage. So raise the sexual energy by getting yourself all excited, yummy, and juicy. And then add your intention. So you can already plan to have an intention, start masturbating, and then as you're masturbating, keep the intention in your mind, and as you orgasm, send this energy to your intention. So you just in your head, you just say, okay, I'm sending this energy to this. You could send this sexual energy to someone in need. So like energy is energy. So don't think sexual energy is sleazy or dirty. So you can send this energy to, for instance, my friend who's not feeling well. I could send this energy to my mom who is going through chemo for the 4th time right now. We could send this energy to Mother Earth. We could send this energy back to ourselves. Send this energy to this meeting that we have, to this, to your day, and notice how your day feels different when you do that. So when we do little experiments of this sort, of our own lives, playing with sexual energy in this way, sending it to people for healing, for greater good of mankind, how will we know it works if we don't experiment it with ourselves? So what you could do is, okay, this is how I feel when I masturbate. So this is like the placebo effect. This is how it's like when I don't add anything. This is how I usually feel when I masturbate. Then now you say, okay, this is now I'm masturbating, and I'm sending the sexual energy, this energy that I have generated, back to myself. Send it back to yourself and notice what that feels like and how that feels different. And you could send it to your day, for instance, and that's still sending it back to yourself. And you notice the difference between sending it to yourself versus when you don't send it to yourself. So that's sexual energy, sex magic in essence. And just like anything, there's white magic, and then there's black magic. And white magic is when it's good, and black magic is when it's negative and it's hooky. It's actually not positive, and it's actually used more like for manipulation and for the darker arts that people consider the dark side of sex. And so this is not something that I want to encourage people to do, and this is something that I quite consciously try not to do. So something that would be white magic would be sending love and light to the guy that I like. Black magic would be sending the energy to the guy and telling him to love me. So I did combine like the desire for him to call me, and I hope that that's pretty harmless, because that's just my desire of connecting with him, wanting to meet up with him. But I don't think it's kind of like a manipulation of like getting him to like return to me. You may have the desire of doing this, you add sexual energy, and it becomes a really powerful calling forth. And we are of free will. If the person doesn't want to call me, the person won't call me, regardless of how much I call him in. But a hooky kind of sexual energy is manipulating, like you're gonna buy me a house, and that's really manipulation and control, and that can make us feel powerful, and we can really become quite hooked onto these kind of things. And what I'm trying to say is, don't do that. Don't do that. Only do it for the good of the person. Only do it for the good of the highest good. And you can set an intention. No matter what I'm doing, I want to do it for the highest good of this person and highest good of all concerned. And that would be a blanket statement that will protect you, that will protect the person that you're sending the sexual energy to. And I had set this blanket statement right from the beginning, from the time when I started to become a Reiki master and send energy to healing. I already started doing this. For the rest of my life, I never want to send energy for bad. I never want to override the free will of mankind. I never want to override the higher good of this person and the higher good of all concerned. So sometimes you need to check in. Am I meant to send this intention? Do I have permission to set this intention and send this energy to this person? So that's another way of making sure that you are always doing white magic and not black. Okay, so I've talked about different things in today's show already. I started with the example of how I manifested this house into my life, and I had this a long time desire of moving out of my office, but I didn't have the courage to do it, and I didn't see how I could move out of my office. And then I was asked to move out. The space came, and then I just felt that maybe this is meant to be. I'm meant to operate from this space for now. And now that I'm in the space, just before break, I was talking about how I would really like to now live in this estate that I'm staying in right now. And so what happened was this very interesting dialogue I had with a client of mine. And so we just had a session, and then she said, you look really happy in this space. And I'm like, yeah, I really love this space, and I wish I could live here all the time. And she says, maybe you can, maybe you can. And she's like, yeah, maybe I can. I now have the house, and maybe I just need the man to buy the house. Maybe I just can't see for myself how I could manifest all this money to buy the house for myself. So I say that as a joke, and she says, no, maybe you can stay here by renting the space. And I say, no, I just don't see how that's going to work for me. I don't want to rent a little room in the space and have housemates and still feel that I don't have the freedom to actually move around the house or see clients or run workshops in that space. And I have done that kind of arrangement before, where I was renting a space, and it was a workhouse arrangement, and I couldn't control the amount of noise in the house. So I realized that I don't really need to be thinking how I need to manifest being able to live in the estate. I need to focus on the fact that I want to live in this estate. And So I take walks around the estate, and every time I go around the estate, I just say, I want to live in this estate. How beautiful, how nice, how happy, and what happens is it's an energy, it's a pull that happens because it's a desire that is not just within my body. It actually starts to affect the energy field around my body, and that's a much more powerful energy that starts to draw in. And several times when I've had miracles happen in my life where I actually manifested things, it's very much so the quality of this drawing in that actually happens not just from internal, like, oh, my heart says I want. It's not just from my womb space where from my stomach is actually where my soul resides. Actually says, yeah, I really want this. It's not even from within that space that is deeper, lower down in my body, or even the whole body. Is actually outside of my body. It's actually from inside out. And that's what I mean by the energy field around my body, the aura, the magnetic field that is around us. And it starts to really call in and draws in. And in the book, Manifest Your Desires by Abraham Hicks. And I really, truly recommend that book. In that book, it actually says that if you can hold your vibration of something that you really want for 17 seconds, you'll be able to manifest it. It's really about getting clear about what you want. So between the time when you want something to the time when it actually happens, there is a gap, there's a time. And sometimes during that time, it's good because the universe is making sure that, is this really what you want? If we can call forth anything that we want, anytime, and there's no gap, we start calling on all these things that we don't really want. So you really need to get clear, is this what you really want? And so sometimes I call on something many times, but I don't actually do it for 17 seconds. So we're going to continue more about this manifesting after this break.
Feed your soul with Waves of Consciousness on Om Times Radio.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake. Free your mind. Expand your soul. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back to the last segment of today's show, Eros Evolution, where sex and spirit meets. And I couldn't patch my guest in today, so I'm changing the show, and I just need to wing it, because for those of you to tune in, I really don't want you to feel that you lost out on something. So today instead I'm talking about synchronization, I'm talking about manifesting, and I'm talking about sex magic. And so just now, just before break, I was talking about, I shared 3 stories so far today about how I manifested things into my life, and I shared how I manifested this, and I also talked about sex magic. And you really need to understand this. Now I'm going to share another little story. You need to understand this. If you're negative, you're going to attract negative things into your life. And I really experienced this for myself, and it's really unbelievable. I have always been a spiritual person. I'm interested in New Age, in spirituality, in all things spiritual, like crystals and a pendulum and this and that, and meditation, and I'm interested in so many things, right? So I've always considered myself a spiritual person. And then when you're a spiritual person, you learn about a law of attraction. What you think, you manifest. Cool, gee, wow. Then you don't really know how to do that. So I just don't get to like even the more fundamentals, even before I knew about sex magic and manifesting and seeing all these synchronizations happening in my life. What had actually happened was when I first started my sex coaching practice, I actually had a lot of people put fear into me, and I now recognize that. So what happened was when I decided to be a sexologist in Singapore, and this is totally unheard of, this is a totally new career, nobody was doing this before I did, and so I went to sex school, decided to start a sex coaching practice in Singapore. And when I did that, I really didn't know what to expect. So what happens when you don't know what to expect? You kind of let your fears create that for you. So I probably created all these people who were negative, and I latched onto the negativity, and then that created more fear in me, and then that became a reality. So what had happened in the first 2 years of my practice was I was actually pretty much, quite a lot actually, sexually harassed. And I had people who were, you can call them energy vampires. They were basically horny men, and they say they want a coaching session, and they would sit there, they would ask questions, they would look at you, look at me, and they would give a very sleazy vibe, and they weren't doing anything, but they were looking at me like, like leeches, they were leeching off, and they were like sucking energy, and it was truly disgusting. It felt disgusting, even though they were not touching me. So first of all, they felt disgusting, and the energy in the room turned disgusting. And so when I had all these like leecher-like kind of clients, that created fear. And people around me were saying, oh, you're a woman, you need to be careful when you're with a man, he could rape you, and you're in a closed room, oh my goodness, your office doesn't have any windows, if you shout, no one will hear you. So all these fears started to create quite a lot of negativity. And when I continued focusing on this, and I focused on these negative experiences, I had even more negativity towards men, right? Because men were, after all, the perpetuators of this. And so what actually happened was I noticed that the more I focus on the negativity, what people hear, what people say, and then it affected what I feel, and it started to affect actual experiences, and I started to have even more fear, and I started to create this vicious cycle of feeling more and more drained and more tired in my practice. So I noticed that, hey, this is really not helping me. I'm actually feeding more negativity into something that I don't want to create rather than what I actually want to create. So I decided not to talk about it, and it's really not so easy to do that. So what actually happens was, when people ask me and I start talking about it, I realize I start feeling negative, and I actually attract more of this. So when I don't talk about it, I don't have this. First of all, it's not just about talking about it, it's also about the talking and the feeling. So when I don't talk about it, I don't feel it. And when I don't feel it, I don't want to talk about it. But when people ask about it, I start talking about it, and then I start getting anxious and I start getting upset. And I'm sharing this long-winded story because I'm trying to get to the main point of what I'm trying to say, which is on this one particular day, somebody asked me about my practice. And I start going into the negative side of my practice. And then I start feeling upset. In fact, really upset. Because I bring out all these stories, and this person in particular was truly fascinated with all my stories, right? And so I start talking about like how I get harassed. So don't get me wrong, I don't talk about my client stories. I talk about like how happy I am with my work, how happy I am in helping people. But when people ask me about negative stories, these people are not my clients. Like, people who harass me are not my clients. So I start going into these stories. So on this particular day, this person is very fascinated. I start talking about it, and the more I talk about it, the more I get wound up. And the more wound up I become, the more upset I become. So I leave the meeting with this person. And I don't feel good. And just as I'm on the way walking to my office, because, this was a friend I was catching up with, so from the cafe to my office, just that distance walking to my office, I get someone calling me. So I pick it up, and it was somebody who was harassing me. And so I know okay, so how will I know what's the difference between someone calling genuine and someone harassing? From the tone. So this person was kind of like breathless. So he was trying to drag out the call, but he was also breathless. It sounded like he was masturbating at the other end of the line. So I have one, what I call wanker calling. So then I get to my office and I get a second wanker calling me. I don't know whether it's the same person or different person because it was unlisted. So this is another reason why I don't answer unlisted calls now. I only pick them out when I feel strong. But anyway, so this actually happened second time. So I get to my office, I have a client later, so I unwind, I take a nap, I wake up, and then I get a third nuisance call, a third call. And so I'm thinking, what has happened today that warrants 3 calls that I actually realized I haven't received for like at least the last 2 months. I haven't been harassed for 2 months. Suddenly I'm getting 3 calls in a day. What has happened today? I realized I was feeling really negative, and I drew in immediately these wankers. So talking about the wankers and feeling into the negativity, I just drew that in. I'm sharing this story with you because I really want you to understand how law of attraction works. Just as you focus on what you really want and it has a magnetic pull, you focus on the negative, you talk about it, you feel into it, and you also draw in even more negativity. And using my life as a laboratory, having had many of these instances happen, I realized talking and feeling negative doesn't help. So being responsible for your vibration, shifting yourself and maintaining the highest vibration possible. We are not saints. We are human beings. We are all learning. We are all evolving. But I'm just saying, try to be as high vibration as you can. So part of it is using affirmations, doing releasing statements. Say, I release blah, blah, blah. That's negative. I am positive. I am every day in every way. I am more and more. So using affirmations, using reframing, using mantras. So a mantra that really worked for me earlier this year, that really created miracles for that month that I was trying, was abundance. So for the month, I decided to focus on abundance. Every time I felt negative, I just focused on abundance. I just told myself the universe has more. Every time I focused on I don't have enough clients, I focus on abundance. The universe has more than enough clients. I focus on I don't have love. I focus on love is coming into my life. Love is everywhere around me. So every time I focus on abundance for that particular month, and abundance was my mantra for the month, I had miracles happening that month. I had more income coming in that month. And so that just goes to prove that our thoughts and not just our thoughts, the way we feel, our vibration, and not just inside us, but around us, actually really creates our reality much faster. So that plus what I was mentioning about the 17 seconds rule that I actually read from the book Manifest Your Desires. Hold the vibration for 17 seconds and you're more likely to make it happen. For me, what has created manifestations in my life has been the longing and the longing of something over a period of time. So longing doesn't mean letting go. A lot of times what actually manifested in my life was the longing and the detachment, because it usually starts off with how I wish I could stay in this estate, how I wish I could not have to see my clients, I don't have to work so hard. And so I have to wrap up today's show. I hope this has given you lots of food for thought, how to create more synchronization, manifesting, and sex magic in your life. This has been Dr. Martha Tara Lee, and next week I'll have a different guest and hopefully everything works better. And thank you for your patience, for listening to this show. If you liked it, please share it with your friends. Let them know that the first 10 minutes sounds like crap, but it's still a good show. So email me your comments, stay in touch. This has been Dr. Martha Tara Lee of Eros Coaching. Always drop me an email. I'd love to hear from you.